Although profitability is a key concern across all businesses, it can be particularly complex in law firms, where factors such as recording hours, pricing models, partner compensation structures, and operational efficiency require careful strategy and ongoing management. The following recording, led by Lexington's Katie Dignan and Paul Browne, introduce the 7 levers for enhancing law firm profitability.
It's really nice to be here today in this lovely warm Conduit Club, and it's really cold outside, with you, Paul, to talk a bit about law firm profitability and how we can help law firms to make a bit more money, and to discuss what levers law firms can use to help them to do that. I mean, this has really all come off the back of recent reports that have shown how much more money law firms have been making over the last few years. We've seen it's been very successful for them, but I guess the worry that both you and I have is that that isn't sustainable. And what we want to see as consultants is law firms who are making profit sustainably. So let's talk a bit about the levers that we've come up with, the 7 levers for profitability that will help law firms to be a bit more successful as far as their sustainability is concerned.
So the magnificent 7: hours, price, leverage, getting the work done at the right level, costs, reward and remuneration, a client, all too often forgot this conversation, and finally, strategy and strategic positions by Mancomp or Execo or your particular firm's governance structure.
So, Paul, I guess the obvious first lever is hours. It's always very easy to get confused between turnover and profitability, I think. But hours is obviously a feature of both, and we are very much focusing on profitability here. I guess really interested to know what you see as the key point around this that will help to deliver something sustainable rather than something that's going to go up and down like the economy.
Absolutely. And if I look at these, for example, US firms which are making major profits, much more profitable than a lot of UK firms, other jurisdictions. Ours is driving that. You're talking about 2,000 billable targets, in some cases higher than that. So people are putting in all of hours. But of course, underpinning that is if you're going to measure by the hours, which means you can measure your costs, you have to put in the metrics. Have to record those hours accurately on time. Because the research I did with one law firm client showed that a delay of 5 days in reporting those hours was a 20% loss of hours. So are law firms leaving money on the table by not having that culture, a financial hygiene factor of recording the hours every day accurately all the time?
But we seem to have been talking about this for years, about people just not recording their hours. And I guess I don't really understand what's stopping people other than just, I'll press the button later, that sort of attitude, rather than doing it there. And I mean, the other thing that I see all the time as well is clients complaining to their law firms about, well, tell us what hours you've done, then we'll understand what we're paying you, what we're likely to be paying you, all of those sorts of things. So I struggle with the reason why law firms wouldn't record their hours better.
Well, yes, there's nothing stopping people. It's more a cultural side. What I see is, for example, a regional firm will say, oh, it's not our culture to do this, or we don't want to do this. You compare that with, say, a big US law firm, where in one case, if you haven't recorded your hours over 2 days, you are locked out of the system, and you can't do any better until you put there. And you're absolutely spot on, having the right narrative so that the client can say, that was about this particular area, this particular piece of this issue. That is justified. That's stop. Because clients are going through this with much more detail as the fees go up.
And I guess as the technology gets better and law firms are better able to share all of this information with their clients, it's got to be it's got to help law firms to get better at this, hasn't it? Because they're being more transparent, you would think.
With technology, using AI, looking at the diaries, looking at where the time is spent, and giving a first draft that then the like adjust and so forth, means you don't get the well, I better put 2 hours down for recording time at the time fit. So it is getting easier, but it's like brushing your teeth. Part of financial hygiene, put the hours in, because if you don't have a record of a time, you don't know your costs. One very eminent client of ours in Asia said to us, our lawyers have brilliant minds, but we can't measure that. But we can measure the hours that they spend. And that gives you costs, which gives you profit, which gives gross margin. That's the building block of the whole thing. And of course, the firm then needs to also make a decision. How many hours do you want people to work? Are your people willing to go down that coach?
Absolutely. And of course, it feeds into one of the levers that we'll talk about later, which is price. Because if you don't understand your cost of production, for want of a better phrase, then how can you build a price? And we can never get away from, well, we won't get away from for quite a while, the business of time feeds price and feeds the cost of production because you've got people doing the work.